Born on a blistering hot day in 1930, Ross Perot was raised in Texarkana by a hard-working Texas cotton broker and his loving wife. It was the Depression, and the family lived in modest circumstances, but Ross and his sister Betty say they were born rich.
We had wonderful parents. My mother was an angel, and my dad was my best friend. I was his best friend, and the fact that we didn't have any money was not nearly as significant as the fact that we had one another.
Although she struggled to make ends meet for her own family, Ross's mother always had a meal and a kind word for the homeless strangers who would wander from the nearby railroad tracks to their door.
We didn't really have food to give to other people, but my mother always gave them food. And she told me the reason she did it again and again is she'd say, "Son, these are people just like us, but they are down on their luck, and we must help them." We were taught, "There but by the grace of God go I." I was taught that at home.
Even in the hardest of times, Ross's father always made certain his family was taken care of, building a business in the depths of the Depression by treating the farmers he dealt with honestly and fairly. His son says he learned everything he needed to know about business at his father's knee.
He was in the cotton brokerage business. He would buy cotton from the farmers and sell it to the mills. And he always paid the farmers a fair price. His office was my Harvard Business School. I could sit in his office as a little boy and watch him do business all day long. It was a little wooden building. I helped him build it. I have a picture in my office I will always keep and treasure. It shows his general ledger hanging from a nail on the wall. And only in America could that man's son have the opportunities in just one generation to build a network of computer centers all over the world, processing financial information by satellite.
Father and son were best of friends, the busy cotton trader taking time out to ride with his son after school.
Typically would pick me up every afternoon after school, and he and I would ride until dark. Then on Fridays, he would take me to the horse, mule, and cattle auctions at Owen Brothers' barn. And as a little boy, he started letting me buy and sell bridles first, but I couldn't take one home. I could buy it for $4 and sell it for $4.50 or sell it for $5, but he was training me to make a profit.
Ross learned to break horses by age 7, taking his fair share of lumps and broken noses, but learning an important lesson. Why get bucked off if there's a better way to do it? Once a month, Ross's family would go to the movies, and it was there that Ross saw a film on Thomas Edison, which would fire his imagination.
And after seeing the Edison movie, I was intrigued with coming up with ways that would make it easier for me to feed and water the horses, because that was my job. The only problem was I never had the money to implement them. And today, all of them are in my barn at my house. So I finally got to do it years later.
His legendary career as a salesman started early, going door to door, selling everything from garden seeds to Saturday Evening Post magazines. And he delivered newspapers on horseback.
Had to, because the streets were sand. You couldn't ride a bicycle with a heavy load of papers. So I would get up about 4 in the morning, saddle my horse, and go deliver the papers. Absolutely safe. Started a paper out in the black community in Texarkana. Everybody said it couldn't be done. While I was throwing that paper out, my dad had to have a kidney operation, which was a huge, complex operation at that time. We had to go to Shreveport, Louisiana to have it done. I couldn't get anyone to throw the papers while I was gone. So I went from door to door and explained to my customers that I'd be gone for several days with my dad and that I hoped they would take the papers when I came back. Almost to a family, they said, "Save the papers and bring them to us when you come back." And I replied, "You don't want old papers." They said, "That's not the point, son. You need the money if your dad's having an operation." Now here are people who with luck were making $9 a week. And one of the reasons they took those papers, they would use them to paper the walls to keep the wind out of the house. They would use them for insulation under their mattresses. And for them to have that kind, warm spirit certainly left a lasting impression on me.
He dug fence posts and strung barbed wire, but no matter what, he had to be at school on time and in church on Sunday.
Education was very important, but going to church was even more important. And unless you were dead, you went to Sunday school and church. No ifs, ands, and buts. And my grandparents were always there. My parents were there, and Betty and I were there.
After working all summer, Ross would take 2 weeks off to hitchhike across Texas and learn as much as he could, kept safe by the kindness of strangers he would meet, and dreaming of his future from the back of pickup trucks. Ross dreamed of going to the Naval Academy, but had to wait for an appointment, so he attended Texarkana Junior College, where his determination was tested as student body president. Ross stood up for what the students he represented wanted, to move the campus to a location where the school could grow. The skeptical school board was finally persuaded, and Texarkana College grew from 200 to 3,800 students and thrives today as a 4-year institution. But Ross's sights were still set on Annapolis.
I finished my first year of college, we didn't get an appointment. Finished my second year of college and was getting ready just to keep on going to college, and suddenly one day we got a Western Union telegram announcing that I had received an appointment to the Naval Academy.
Ross thrived in the competitive environment at Annapolis. He ranked in the top 1% of his class in leadership, an evaluation process conducted by his classmates, upperclassmen, military officers, and academic instructors. Elected president of his class both his junior and senior years, and chairman of the honor committee, he was asked to rewrite the honor code, served as a battalion commander, and received an award for outstanding leadership upon graduation. He was given the honor of escorting President Dwight D. Eisenhower on a tour of the Naval Academy.
It was just like visiting with a nice friend, and my most vivid memory of the whole experience in retrospect is there were no Secret Service men. He just, President Eisenhower, Mrs. Eisenhower, and I wandering around the Naval Academy.
As a midshipman, Ross got his first glimpse of Wall Street from the deck of a Navy ship after spending 14 hours cleaning the boiler. Little did he know that someday he would have a company listed on the New York Stock Exchange.